You've tuned in to the show that celebrates life and all that makes it special. Sports, music, you, and of course, a nice cold beer or a glass of your favorite wine. And now, today's story. All right, everybody, welcome to Life, Sports, Music, and Beer. I've got a special guest in studio today. This is John Auker, right? That's how you pronounce it, yep. John Auker, musician extraordinaire, neighbor of mine. I've met him about a year and a half, well, right at the beginning of COVID, so almost 2 years ago when I met you in April.
We were putting a patio in with another neighbor.
Yeah, we were putting in a patio with Brendan, and found out that he's a musician, a guitar teacher. Do you teach anything else other than guitar?
Ukulele.
Oh wow. Okay. So the string instruments,
yeah.
no piano.
No piano, just mostly fretted string.
Right.
Instruments. Yeah.
Fantastic, but found out that he's something very interesting in John's story here, because we're all about telling stories with life, sports, music, and beer. We're just not drinking beer right now, so it is.
Yeah.
It is
noon.
It is noon. Hey, I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but we don't have any prepared. So either way, John came over today to help me get a setup for musical guests, and he's essentially he's playing, sounding so good. I decided to do an impromptu recording of our session here. I'll have him sing a song, and we'll hear a little bit about his story. But the one thing I learned about John when I first met him was that he's in a Beatles tribute band. I got chills when I said that. I love the Beatles. I've always loved the Beatles. A lot of our listeners probably love the Beatles. They're that quintessential band that if you don't love the Beatles, you probably shouldn't be in music. Am I right?
I would agree.
I mean, not just like the Beatles, like love the Beatles. Like there's a couple of bands that I feel that are in that category. If you don't respect what they did for the music industry, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, maybe even hard rock wise, Metallica, AC/DC, some of those guys. Those guys that could be another show sometime. Like what musicians, what bands actually altered the course of music, you know what I mean, as moving forward. Elvis Presley is probably number one. Beatles were probably number two in the time frame. Like who did it better? Maybe the Beatles. I don't know.
I think in terms of influence, Beatles would kind of supersede Elvis.
Right.
Elvis did change.
Yeah. Like they were
trajectory, stardom wise. He was a phenomenon, but then you look at like influence.
Yeah, Beatles, man.
I mean, people are still using their...
Well, and then I'd have to go as far as saying in like modern, like a little bit more modern times in the late 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I'm going to say Nirvana and Pearl Jam, because they really changed. I mean, literally Poison songs stopped overnight playing Unskinny Bop on the radio to Nirvana's, Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it changed everything. Even Loverboy had a discussion one time. They're like, we had a new album getting ready to come out and everything. And then a band called Nirvana hit the scene. And they never did anything after that, except for, retro tours. But.
Yeah. And to me, Kurt Cobain, maybe it's just the time I was growing up or whatever, but Kurt Cobain had sort of that aura to him that John Lennon had. Just this, like, larger-than-life persona.
Oh, absolutely.
And somewhat, just this figure of almost like prophetic qualities, but yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit. Like I said, John, we learned about John that he's in what part do you play in the tribute band? Tell us more about the tribute band and how you got involved with that.
So I play George Harison. I started playing. Our tribute band is called Hard Day's Night. They're all based out of Cleveland, Ohio. And I started playing with them in 2008. Answered pretty much like an online call for an audition. Went and auditioned with them. Seemed like a good fit. They were a good group of guys to play with. And so, I joined the band in about 2008. Didn't really get fully going with them till maybe late spring, summer 2009. Right. So it took about 8 months. Preparation.
Okay. So there's another tribute band. One of our co-hosts, Ralph, he saw a Beatles tribute band in down in Florida with that. I don't know. There's another bigger name that tours the country and the world. Do you know who they are?
Well, there's Rain.
Rain's
a big one. They have a huge production. They're actually coming to town soon in Columbus, Ohio. And there's another one called Fab Four.
Okay.
And then there's another one called 1964. Those are probably like the
top ones that you know.
Top tier, like the top three that I would say.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it forever. I mean, Rain, Fab Four are probably like the longest running.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. He mentioned it to me, and it was funny because that's when I first thought of having you even on the show eventually, and kind of with testing out the music, and kind of maybe an impromptu show. But he had mentioned that he went and saw this other band like about a month ago.
Yeah,
now,
but I mean, there's
probably so many. Yeah, but
billions.
he said they're so good. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna go out there and call yourself a Beatles tribute band, I think ultimately you've got to be pretty good to be able to say that. You know what I mean? To be able to put that out as the label.
Yeah.
So if you're not good, you're not going to be wanting to promote that. So I would think all the ones that are doing it well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like anything. There's different levels and different classes, and there's some we wish wouldn't be doing it, but they're doing the music, and it still celebrates the music.
Celebrating the music.
So there's kind of that mentality behind it. If you're keeping the music alive,
right,
and you're doing it the best you can,
right,
then we'll.
So you play the role of George. So do you sing all of George's songs, and then whatever he did in the band you do? Is that how you do it, or do you guys kind of like shake things up and it not exactly follow by suit?
So we're kind of to the T, to the drop T, right on their logo. But they had I mean we do specific parts. So whatever George played or sang, as much as we can.
Okay.
Because obviously there's like studio tricks and stuff that were involved, or overdubs or whatever, but
like the piano at the end of the one song where they did the piano chord strike, it wasn't a whole bunch of people on it. It was a pumpkin, a hollowed out pumpkin they slammed onto the strings of a that's what I heard. That's what I had heard. Now
remember that story.
Yeah, that's the story I heard, that's how they created the very end chong, that he did it with a hollowed out pumpkin onto the chords, onto the strings of the piano itself. That's what I heard many moons ago. Sounded like a cool story. If it, maybe we could fact check. We can fact check that.
If you're talking about Day in the Life, they actually did have. They brought extra pianos in.
Did they? Okay.
And they had pretty much every guy on a piano. So 4 pianos.
Okay.
They even had their roadie.
Right.
Mal Evans play one. So it's at least 5. I can't remember exactly how many. There might have been 1 or 2 more with like production staff at EMI. Like George Martin was probably playing one. But they all played the same chord, but there's a story there where it took so many takes. Because somebody would move. Or they would hit at the wrong time. Yeah. Right.
So maybe my story that I've known, I'm almost 50 now, and I've heard that story about the pumpkin for many moons ago when I first started being a Beatles fan. I can almost tell you the date that at least the summer that I started being a Beatles fan, I got introduced to Abbey Road. And it was the summer that I went to Alaska with my high school science group. And we went 5.5 weeks in Alaska, hiking and exploring all of Alaska with 32 of us. And I was introduced to the Beatles on that trip. That would have been the summer between 88. That would have summer between 88 and 89. So it was the summer of 88 was when I was introduced to the Beatles and never turned back. Abbey Road, I think I wore out that album because I actually had the album. My dad had it.
Yeah.
And then I confiscated it and started playing it. And then, of course, I got it. Yeah, exactly. So some incredible music on there.
So you're kind of when we talk in our band a little bit, you're kind of part of this generation that I think most of people your age have kind of skipped over the Beatles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah. Or we think. We have a hunch. We're trying to hypothesize, right? So back, when you're about that time, what grade would you say, or how old would you say you were around that time?
Around 88, I was a junior in high school.
Junior in high school, okay.
Sorry, we had a little camera malfunction there.
So, around that time, it was more, people were getting into Journey, Eagles.
Right.
Like, there was this, I would say.
Oh, yeah, I was a huge Journey fan then, huge Eagles fan. I like all of them. Eagles is probably one of the first things I ever sang when I was taking singing lessons. I sang one of the Eagles songs. The first thing I ever sang in public was that song. So it would have been that one. You know, it would have been that same time frame. But you know, back then too, like
Kiss.
88 and 89. Yeah, Kiss was a little before. It's more 70s, but
right. But
like,
it's like
honestly,
that kind of era.
Yeah,
Beatles
like,
were kind of becoming like passe in like 70s, 80s.
Right. So one thing that happened with me in the 89, I remember when my first rap song that I heard, like hardcore rap song, NWA, was my first my buddy brought it over. I was laid up from a knee surgery, and I ended up listening to this. He's like, you got to hear this, and he put it on Walkman with the cassette tape.
Yeah.
And it was NWA with Eazy-E and Snoop Dogg, or not Snoop Dogg, but Dr. Dre and all those guys from NWA. And blew me away. And then I stopped. That's all I listened to for years. And then like in 92, I got introduced to Garth Brooks, and then I started listening to country. And now I'm all over the place. So I feel like I came up through some decent roots of knowing the Beatles and liking the Beatles, and then transferring over into other songs. And then there's Prince, and then and then top 40 songs that you enjoy, and then there's Nirvana. So there's the thing about me with music, and I'm this is a good question for you. Like, do you enjoy a certain genre, or can you respect like all the different genres and understand where they're coming from and enjoy it? Maybe not say it's your favorite, but enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep an open mind about everything.
Right. I would think so too, with being a music teacher.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some stuff that's better than others.
Yeah.
There's good music and bad music, and even in any genre, right?
Right.
So
right.
I mean, but if you try to at least keep an open mind about it, you'll find the good stuff.
Yeah.
And you'll find what's good about the good stuff
Right,
and what's
right.
not. Like,
well, I was invited to a Tool concert the other night. I didn't know who they were. Then I listened to some of their songs. Like, oh yeah, I've heard their songs. Then I went to the concert, and they didn't play any of their normal songs.
I
They
figured
played all
they'd be
these.
like your favorite band,
No,
being a handyman.
No, yeah, right. A Tool. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or are you calling me a tool? No, I'm just kidding.
No, a handyman.
Okay.
Being a handyman.
Right. So, I enjoyed the concert. I love the production. I love their drum beats and their guitars, but I didn't know any of the songs, but I was still able to enjoy the show and move on about my night. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Same thing with like Volbeat and other people like that. They're like more of like a newer Metallica,
Okay.
Music, but they got some great sounding stuff, and they've got, it's hard rock and it's riffs and drum beats, but then they kind of spin back into the 50s sound a little bit sometimes, and you're like, this is really cool. So
Interesting.
yeah, so like I'm all over the map, and then I can then I'll probably get ridiculed if you feel like posting comments in the section below. We always recommend comments, good, bad, or indifferent. Just be professional about it. But I'm going to tell you a music genre that I absolutely love, and I get chills every time I hear it, sing it, whatever. And that's the show Hamilton. I freaking love the music from Hamilton. Absolutely. I mean, the show itself, I could care less to watch the show, but the music to me is so well done. I can never say his name right. Lin-Manuel Miranda. There we go.
Yeah.
I get tongue tied with his name.
And I didn't realize how active he was prior to that.
Right.
And,
oh yeah.
And then even around that,
Right. Exactly.
Our daughter got into that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
then
My kids didn't. Like, they missed it. They can't stand it. And and my wife doesn't like musicals, so for the most part. I think she went and saw Wicked, and she enjoyed Wicked, but that was also the spectacle that she saw.
Well,
and she went and saw it live, so that's one thing.
And talk about maybe something you don't quite understand or get at first. Like, I didn't really get Hamilton at first. I was kind of like, what? This isn't like a Broadway musical, because I heard the rap first.
Right.
And thinking, show tunes, Broadway musical, it's all about melody and chord structure. But then there is that stuff in there.
Right.
I only heard a snippet of it.
Yeah.
And if I would have shut off
that
when I heard that first little bit and thought, that doesn't fit my paradigm of what that's supposed to be, then I wouldn't have listened. But our daughter being into it, listening in the car on the way to school or whatever, you hear the songs, and it's got a lot. It's really creative lyrically.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the way turns of phrase and stuff happen.
Right.
But then there is melody, and there's great hip hop guitar
Oh, yeah,
riffs in the
yeah.
background.
And I think
stuff.
there was a couple things. I think they said that the King song was one of the songs was very Beatles-ish. Like they
Yes.
went Beatles-ish. I
You'll
believe
be
it was yeah.
back. Yeah.
You'll be back.
Oh, and-
Wait and see. Don't you know that you belong to me?
It's very Beatles.
You know, very
but
Beatles. I love
it's
it.
it's British, right?
Right,
so
right,
I mean, it's
right.
perfect
It
that
is
they would have
perfect.
done that.
And that the actor that or the musician that sang that song in the
Oh,
original,
he's-
I mean, he's so amazing.
He's
you know?
hilarious.
He's
yeah.
so funny, and the King is of course. If you ask anybody, like, who's your favorite part in Hamilton? The King, you know.
Yeah. All right. See, our kids hated the King.
Oh, they hated the King. Well, the
Well,
King
you're
was mean.
supposed
Yeah.
to, you know?
Yeah, you're supposed to hate the King, but oh my gosh, he's hilarious. He made that go from a show to a comedy, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Like it has the comedy undertones, you know. But we're all wrapped up in a serious you know, concept, you know, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh man, we could probably talk music all day. But listen, would you be willing to play one of your songs that you sing as
Sure.
George, or
Yeah,
like what do you
sure.
like, anything like what do you think? What kind of song you
Yeah,
played
so-
a couple for me in setup, which
yeah,
are
this-
amazing. But what do you think?
This is probably one of my favorites to do. Of course, we do it with the full band and everything, and so I get to do all the fun guitar stuff.
Right, right.
But yeah, I'll do "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
Okay, take it away, John. As my guitar gently weeps.
I look at you all, see the love that's sleeping, while my guitar gently weeps. I look at the floor and I see it needs sweeping. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know why nobody told you how to unfold your love. I don't know how someone controlled you. They bought and sold you. I look at the world and I notice it's turning, while my guitar gently weeps. With every mistake we must surely be learning. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know how you were diverted, you were perverted too. I don't know how you were inverted. No one alerted you. I look at you all, see the love that's sleeping, while my guitar gently weeps. Look at you all, still my guitar gently weeps.
So, do you have to talk in a British accent when you're doing the speaking?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Awesome. So you
I luckily don't have to talk so much. Yeah, 'cause it's like Paul and John, right? Like, I just get to like sit in the background a little bit.
awesome. That was so good. I'm gonna put some crowd noise in here or something. I'll multiple snaps and claps. That was
go.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Man, if that's I definitely want to get to see one of your shows. So, when you guys coming to Columbus, you guys tour everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, we're mostly Midwest, Cleveland, Northeast, Northwest Ohio, Columbus, and then surrounding states, kind of.
Okay.
But we're back in town, McConnell Arts Center.
Okay.
In Worthington, April 8th and 9th.
Oh, so soon. Okay.
So,
For some reason, I didn't think you were going to do anything until the summer, but
pretty soon. I think we might have, April 8th and 9th, and then April 30th. I think we're back in kind of the Cleveland area.
Okay.
Gee,
so pretty much.
I should probably know my schedule.
Yeah, that's fine. You're supposed to know all this stuff by heart. I mean, I just threw you into the studio and recorded, and now we're gonna have an episode. So
that's true.
It's fine. We'll put all the information down in the comment section below once we get all that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we're on Facebook.
Right.
Harddaysnight.net is the website.
Okay.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
All that
HDN
stuff.
Tribute is like the handle that we use mostly.
Right.
But yeah, McConnell Arts Center, April 8th and 9th. That's going to be a special 2-night thing because the first night, Friday, is going to be all early stuff.
Okay.
So 64 to 66.
Okay.
Kind of. And then the second night's going to be Sgt. Pepper and then late stuff.
Later.
So it's kind of like a fun little experiment. See like who comes to what.
Right.
If you like the later stuff, come to the
or who
Saturday.
comes to both.
Yeah, or who comes to both, you know. It's because it's going to be 2 different shows each night. So
Right. So we ask everybody like we have a list of questions we ask. Try to start asking all of our guests. So if you were to hot tub time machine back yourself back to any, not just your life, but any event, and since you're music, it's musical event. We have sports events, that kind of stuff for other guests, but any music event that's happened in the past, what would be your hot tub time machine go to see live in person? It
would probably be February 9th, 1964.
Okay.
Ed Sullivan Show.
Okay.
73 million viewers.
Fantastic.
Right.
And be live in the show.
That, or just see it on
see it on TV.
One of the kids watching on TV.
Okay.
You know, like I've met so many people doing this tribute band where they were like, that's it. Was the moment.
That was it.
A flashbulb explosion moment in my life where either, you know, I got hooked on the Beatles or I knew I wanted to play music. I wanted to play guitar. I saw George front and center and I wanted to play guitar, you know, like. Yeah. And so I made a little cardboard cutout.
I wasn't even expecting that one. I was expecting some sort of concert or something. So
I mean, and it's 73 million people. Like
that's a lot. I don't know how much the Super Bowl holds or watches, but that's probably more now. But back then, that was unheard of. That was like every single TV in the world was.
And that's that's to me why the Beatles are kind of like superseded Elvis because they did so many things that were huge.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't understand.
And it was like the first thing.
Is they did it in a very short time frame, right?
Yeah.
I just found that out.
And a lot of times it was the first thing, like the Shea Stadium concert. Nobody had played a stadium before.
But like from when they hit, so the Ed Sullivan Show was when they hit America. The
64, yeah.
So by the time, like when did they break up? Like
70.
So 6 years.
6 years. I mean, you could.
6 years. That is.
You kind of say 62 because they were playing in
overseas,
Liverpool and Hamburg around that time.
Still, okay, so
recording,
eight
but
years,
still,
though,
8 years.
For everything they did in 8 years. And then, like, put that in perspective of
4
how
movies,
long, like,
tours.
And how long, like, U2's been around forever, you know, and how long, you know, AC/DC was around. Like, they did all their, like, the Beatles had such an impactful hit on the music industry in 8 short years in the grand scheme of things.
And we're still talking about them today.
And people, you're probably still packing the
60
house.
years later.
Right. It's amazing.
We're watching their documentaries on Disney Plus 60 years later. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's so great. It's so great.
Nobody's watching Elvis movies.
Have you?
Sorry,
so
Elvis.
that's okay.
Wherever you are.
Yeah, right, exactly. When it comes to, have you ever met any of the Beatles, like personally?
No, the coolest meeting I got was Jeff Emmerich, the
Okay.
engineer for. He basically became the head engineer from '66 on,
Okay.
and then did a lot of stuff with Paul
Right.
in his solo years
Right.
too. He came to a festival that we play at every year called Abbey Road on the River.
Okay.
He was a guest speaker. He
Uh-huh.
had a little seminar, but he actually came and walked around the festival and caught one of our sets. So so we're sitting there playing
Yeah.
"She Loves You"
Right.
to the guy that was like in the room
When they played.
recording.
When they recorded it.
Yeah, he was like in the tape room or whatever. But
Still, he was there.
it's you're like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
That's
like.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And then we got to talk to him and go to his little seminar, and I got his autograph. And
That's cool.
Just
That's
said,
cool.
hey.
Well, I
Thank
mean,
you.
he's
You
part of the Beatles, in my opinion. I mean, all the behind the scenes people were the Beatles as well. It wasn't just it was the four guys I know that were on the front, but the people that were producing, the people that were doing the management, they were all part of that group. In my opinion. So
I think so. He was one of the guys. Strawberry Fields.
okay,
Take that song for example. There were two takes of that.
okay,
John Lennon had like an acoustic guitar take, and then he had one with all these like French horns and strings and stuff on it.
okay,
And they were in two different keys. One's in B flat, one's in A. So you can't just mash them together. There'll be a huge audible difference.
right.
And they were in two speeds.
Oh, jeez.
But John Lennon says, "Hey, I like the first half of this one, and I like the second half of the other one.
Right.
Can you just mash them together for me? Thanks, bye." And they're like,
Mic drop.
Yeah, they're like, "No, we can't. That's
But I'm John Lennon.
yeah, right."
You will do it.
Well, and that was kind of the attitude. They just knew
right.
these guys were engineers,
Yeah.
like real legit engineers
Yeah.
of their
Oh
day.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Incredible.
And so they just had this faith, like, yeah, or this expectation of, yeah, you can do it. You guys
Right.
are geniuses, so
Right.
you can just do whatever we ask.
That's amazing.
So he's like, okay, well, we'll try. So what they did is they took the B flat one, slowed it down because it was also faster,
Mm-hmm.
and then they sped up the one in A,
Right.
which made it higher and sped it up. And so the
They
pitches,
came down.
they kind of met in the middle
Right.
in speed and in pitch.
Wow.
And then Jeff Emmerich was in charge of razor blade, tape splice. Yeah.
Back then it wasn't digital where you just go, zoom in, melt these two together. It was
putting it
was
together.
actual physical.
So if you go back and listen to that song, you can, and you say if you play an instrument, you can try to play along. It's not in either key.
Oh wow.
And
So is that a hard song to play live?
It even kind of drifts. Oh yeah, I mean we don't
Tackle that one.
we might soon here, but it's going to take some
Yeah.
extra trickery, I think,
Wow.
to make happen if we attempt it. Yeah.
Wow. That's a great story. That's a great story. Well, I think we'll wrap this show up. I'd love for you to play another song. Do you have a favorite Beatles song or anything else you'd like to play other than Beatles? I mean, we've been talking about the Beatles, so it might as well be Beatles. I'm sure one of your favorites is George, but do you have any of the other ones that you play that you like as much as his? I mean, you are George, so you have to say your favorite Beatles songs are George, right? No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really do appreciate him. After doing it so long, I appreciate his songs and
Right.
what they mean and what they kind of brought to the world.
Right.
Yeah, I'll do one more George tune. This is actually one of the top Beatles songs out there now, like streaming.
Okay.
It's kind of become one of the top streamed songs.
Wow.
Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, love this song. All right. This is John Auker playing Here Comes the Sun.
And this song actually was written, Eric Clapton, little connection. This was Abbey Road. So he was in, there was a lot of things going on with Apple at the time. Again, a little bit of turmoil. All these George songs came from turmoil, I guess. But he just decided to play hooky. I don't want to go into meetings. I don't want to see any Apple executives today. I'm just going to play hooky and hang out in Eric Clapton's garden. And he said he wrote this pretty much just in Eric Clapton's garden.
Wow.
As he was just sogging off, I think is the term he said. But yeah. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, the smile's returning to the faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for this impromptu recording and helping me test out the booth for future musical guests. You'll officially be known now as the first musical guest on Life, Sports, Music, and Beer.
There we go.
So before we sign off here, just go ahead and just real quick go through your band, where you can find things out, anything you want to share when it comes to that. Just go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll be done.
Okay, yeah. harddaysnight.net is the band. HDN Tribute on Facebook, HDN Tribute on Instagram.
HDN, Hard Day Night. Okay.
Yep, Hard Days Night, HDN Tribute on all the social media things. I think we are HDN Tribute Band or something on Twitter.
Right.
But yeah, that's where you can find us.
Right.
Schedule's up on the website.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to have you on again because you are an actual music teacher as well. You teach people. I'm trying to get lined up to be taught the guitar myself from you. So if we'll have you on some
That's
other
right.
time, and we'll
I'm
talk
ready.
more about your music teaching part of it.
Okay.
And would love to have you back and play some other songs. I know you got more in that head of yours than Beatles, but it's kind of like that's where I wanted to start because that's the coolest part about having met you was that who knew that there's like a really well-versed musician that plays the Beatles that lives right around the corner from me.
Well, yeah, we scheduled this like an hour ago, and so I was like,
great.
oh, what songs could I play? He's probably going to need me to play some songs, so...
Well, it all worked out. That's why we know it was meant to be. But thanks a lot for coming on, and we'll
thanks for
talk
having
to you
me.
some other time. All right.
All right.
Well, okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You've listened to Life Sports Music today and beer. And we'll, once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out John and his band and everything that comes about it. I think if you're in the different Midwest area and you can catch him, feel free to do so and tell them if you see him and they get a chance to meet him or the band, just let them know that you heard him first here on Life Sports Music and Beer. Take care.
I have no doubt you enjoyed listening to John's story. The part that struck me the most was when he spoke about the moment he saw George Harison and the Beatles. I mean, he knew right then that's what he wanted to do, and so he made a cardboard cutout of a guitar, and his dream was on its way. That, my friends, was John's defining moment, at least in terms of what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And we all have defining moments. John's was music. What's yours? You may not think it to be as exciting as John's, but I assure you there's someone out there who needs to hear it. I know we would love to hear it. Email us and let's talk about it. In the meantime, tune in for our next show where we discuss sports and money and the power they both have in the lives of our children. See you then.
On behalf of everyone from Life Sports Music and Beer, we thank you for tuning in. If you've got that story to tell, comment below, smash that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can hear other amazing stories.